Hey, this one actually has paint on it. That's kind of weird. I've been trying to take, receive this car for months. It's been street parked about 20 miles from here with a bad SMG pump for a long time. The reason why it's this direction is because the SMG pump is bad, so it doesn't actually drive. Battery's completely dead, and it looks like it's got some miles on it. I don't know anything about it yet. Looks like it's got some rust on it here and there. But it is in for a 6-speed conversion. Once again, looks pretty solid. I think it's an 03.5 because it's got LED taillights. Yep. Yeah, I don't know. Looks pretty solid. I'm still actually looking for, if any of you guys have an SMG E46 M3, or you know somebody that does, that's maybe not completely dead and wants to drive it up to the cities. I would like to test out a new transmission combination. For all these customer cars, I run the S6S420G, the real, you buy it out of a crashed E46 M3 type of deal, throw it in there, all factory. But the trans conversion I'm looking to do, although it uses a factory BMW transmission, it is not an M3 box, and it is still an overdrive 6-speed. You guys have seen my videos on the S5D 310Z ZF 330i manual transmission swaps in these before. I still really like that option if you're pretty hard on your car and you don't do a lot of open highway cruising just because no overdrive. But yeah, I have a very cost-effective option for a 6-speed box that I think I can make work pretty well, and I'd love to give it a go. I actually tried to buy this car from this guy and do it myself, but he wanted a little bit too much money for a dead SMG car. So, I don't know, keep in the back of your mind if you hear about something. So even a car with a bad SMG that's cheap, I would consider buying it and shipping it up. But yeah, it's in for an SMG swap. Just got it down here, got on the lift. It's immobilized, so we just pushed it off the wrecker this direction. That's why it's nose out. So it'll be interesting doing the swap this direction, but hopefully it'll be fine. Yeah. I'm going to be at Road America in Wisconsin for the Hawk Vintage this weekend. Then I'm going on Tuesday of next week out to New York to pick up my new Fiat 124 Spider. So I'm not exactly sure when you'll see the content on this M3, but rest assured it will happen, and probably in pretty short order as well. So keep your eyes peeled for that. Yeah. That's pretty much all I got for now. It's a total shit show this summer, so sorry about the kind of lackadaisical content that's coming out, but thanks as always for keeping on watching. I certainly do appreciate the eyes and ears, and I'll catch you guys soon. I'm gonna start pulling off all the lower trim stuff and the exhaust, and I'll probably try to get the transmission out yet tonight. It's an active day down here, so you guys have seen this a lot before, but on the M3, you pretty much just take the entire section, whatever you call that, 2 and 1. You leave the headers on the motor, but everything else pretty much comes off. This car hasn't been on the street in a long time, so I'm hoping the fasteners come off all right, but I already see quite a bit of rust on them, so start PB blastering them now. So, back top side. Snorkel, airbox, tube, strut tower brace, blower motor cover, rain tray, and DSC cover out. Typically, these are the one-time use crimp clamps. However, somebody's had this airbox off before, so it actually has regular worm hose clamps on it, which is nice. I usually replace those with this type of clamp when I do the job anyway. Breathers off, brake pressure boost thingies off. I think that's actually evap. Main idle air intake is off. There is still an oil drain back for the dipstick tube on the bottom that I need to take off, and I still have to drain the SMG mineral oil. So everything's loose and taken off. I've got the 2 little 10 mils on the bottom of the plenum off, but I do want to drain this thing out of mineral oil before I get going, because it just really makes the floor disgusting. So back up it goes. fitting you can actually get to with the mineral oil without pulling the exhaust first is the slave cylinder. So I just grab my 11 mil and I'm gonna drain it out as much as I can through that into my waste container. Once that's done, I'm gonna finish topside before I come back down here and pull the exhaust. Main thinking there is just to give the PB blaster a little bit longer to work its magic on these not so great looking fasteners. I'll start pulling the electrical stuff at some point shortly thereafter, only really retaining the reverse lights. We're not using any of the other stuff, so yeah, I'm just gonna go have a beer and wait for this to finish draining and we'll finish up. So this is my 2017 Fiat 124 Spyder Lusso. A lot of words. This is actually the first time in actually just about exactly a week of ownership I've had the hood open on this car just to kind of check it out. I think I'm definitely going to be buying a smaller lightweight Deca battery. That thing's just huge. There's the Garrett, like I think it's a 4455 or something like that. It's a pretty small turbo, but it's not unreasonably small. It's like KO3 sized, I think. Intake is pretty small, looks pretty muted. I would really like to open that up a little bit just to get some turbo noises. You got the factory diverter valve here. GFB, an Australian company, makes a billet one, which has just kind of a better diaphragm and it's a little bit quicker response for boost. So I'm planning to get that. They also make a blow-off adapter for it, and that's purely just so you don't recirculate your excess boost when you let off into the intake and it vents it to atmosphere and makes a noise, which a lot of people aren't super into, but I actually am. But anyway, there's the turbo side. The wastegate actuator is also another piece. I think TurboSmart makes an upgraded one of those, so I'll probably do that. Throw this away, don't need that. Alfa Romeo 4C ignition coils are a pretty common mod just to get a little bit stronger spark with the turbo application. I'm actually noticing the filler cap says 5W40, which is super cool. I'm really happy to see that. That is, in my opinion, the correct weight of oil for this engine. That's what I always ran in my little 1.4 gas NA Fiat 500, and this is a very similar engine, other than the fact that this one's a 10.5 to 1 compression and turbocharged, and the other one's 11.5 to 1 and normally aspirated. So on this side, AC compressor, oil separator, a little bit different design from the 500, which actually sits up on the valve cover. It has to sit a little bit lower in the engine bay with the 124. You can see the Fire, the fully integrated robotized engine actuators there. Those are how this engine controls its intake valve duration and lift. It's a really cool system. It's actually a single overhead cam 4-cylinder. It's got just an exhaust camshaft, and then it's got hydraulic followers on the cam that basically directly actuate with pressure the intake valves, but these electric, basically solenoids, variable position solenoids anyway, are able to intercept that pressure and actually control, like I said, lift and timing with that, which is really cool. This engine does have a throttle body. It doesn't need one, which is an interesting thing. It's actually right down here facing downward. Right, that little guy. There's a company called MPX that makes a ported one. I'll probably get that. I'm also planning to get an underdrive pulley set for this vehicle because I never really plan on running the air conditioning, and it has a pretty big alternator on it. Throw this in the trunk. Don't need that. But yeah, other than that, mods I'm planning to do, eventually a big turbo. I think either torque or Eurocompulsion for a tune. Again, I had bad luck with Eurocompulsion on the 500 gasser I had before, so I might try to avoid that. I am planning to do a downpipe, a crossover pipe they call it, which is between the downpipe and the midsection, a midsection and a catback. This car, being a Lusso, has the dual exit fairly quiet exhaust, and this is why the car makes 4 horsepower fewer than the Abarth, or less 4 horsepower. They claim it's a tune difference. I don't think that's true. I'm pretty sure it's all in the more restrictive exhaust. So the interior is really nice. It actually has a speaker in the headrest, which is interesting. It's got like blind spot monitors, which I've shut off. Rain sensing wipers. You can add navigation to this for $50. It's just a little SD card that slides into the dash. I don't really care about the nav, but the map would be nice. It does have fully defeatable traction control. The transmission is kind of my only gripe after living with this for a week. It's really kind of clunky and notchy. So I'm thinking about swapping the fluid out for some Redline MTL, and then I'm gonna, if that doesn't fix it, kind of document my issues with the dealer, because the Abarth I test drove did not feel like that. And this car has so few miles, I really don't think those folks I bought it from had done damage. Other than that, I am planning to lower it. I mentioned in the first video when I was driving it home, it feels a little underdamped. So I'm probably going to eventually go with struts as well, probably conies and springs versus coilovers. I just have had better luck with avoiding coilovers. This isn't going to be winter driven, so I don't really care about ride height. I will eventually try to find some either Willwood 4-piston or the factory Brembo option 4-piston brakes. The stock brakes are really, really good, so I really don't need them. I will be looking for an Abarth limited slip differential. That was the only trim line where it was available and it was standard, so I'm trying to find a manual transmission Abarth diff. I think the auto is a different and potentially more desirable ratio for what I'm looking for, but I also don't want any of the car to stop working properly. So that's kind of the gist of that. I'm not really planning to do any exterior mods to it. I actually really like the Lusso wheels. It looks a little bit more grown up. It has bi-halogen headlights, so they are projector. But they're, yeah, like I said, they're halogen bulbs, so I'm going to be throwing some either xenon or LED, probably xenon, just a 55 watt 5000K kit in there. But yeah, it's a nice car. I like it a lot. It's very comfortable. The electric steering isn't super great, but what electric steering is, I'm just happy to have a beater with a top that goes down. So yeah. Anyway, the main reason I'm down here is to actually start working on this SMG swap. So I'm going to start pulling off